Welcome to Emma. I'm Vick Hope and I matriculated at Emma in 2007 to read modern languages.
And I'm Bobby Seagull and I came up to Emma in 2015 as a postgrad in maths education. We're really excited to be here today hosting what will be a very special and long-awaited launch event for Emma Enables.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be with you today to share such an important moment in Emma's history. It's fantastic to have so many of you tuning in from around the world, so thank you for joining us.
And to kick things off, we have a very special video for you. And Dame Fiona will be telling us more about Emma Enables. See you shortly.
Living and working in beautiful surroundings and just feeling really awe-inspired every day. And that really broadened my outlook massively.
For an incredibly long period of time, young people have arrived at the doors of this place. It's something quite special.
I came up to Emma as a raw schoolboy in 1948. I think when I was at Emmanuel, I realized the value of friendship. I made great friends at Emma. I've had friends throughout life.
When I left Emma, I think I left with a stronger level of confidence and clarity that I wanted to do things that I thought mattered. My job is to make the connection between better growing and better markets. Circular systems is all about making sure that we put as much into the soil as we take from it, and that our time frames move from short-term extraction to long-term health.
I was fortunate enough to be a pioneer. I was the first female helicopter pilot in the British military, and I was the first female squadron commander in the British military. Values that come from Emmanuel are the values that I've taken on into my life.
We have to think holistically about the challenges that we face. As a practicing doctor, I've been able to have a meaningful impact in the field of marine conservation. Improving the health of coastal communities better enables them to engage in rebuilding fisheries and helping marine biodiversity to recover.
I still get that really special feeling when I walk through and into Front Court. It's a place that you will always feel that you belong to.
I'm so grateful because it has been the most wonderful opportunity which the college gave me. It was so enriching.
I was enabled to think when I was at Emmanuel and learned very clearly that we live in a world of infinite possibilities.
Hello everyone, it's wonderful to be here and to know that Emma members are joining us from all across the world. Now we'd love to know where you're from, so if you can find the poll function next to the video on your screen and type in where you are, we'll know where everyone's watching from. We've just seen a beautiful video which I hope captures the essence of Emma for you. It certainly does for me. Remember the words at the end? Emma enables the most talented people to make great contributions to the world around us. The handful of people we saw on the video were doing just that. But of course there are thousands of you out there, all making a difference, whether as doctors or lawyers, teachers or entrepreneurs, in your careers, voluntary work or family life. And that's what Emma does. For centuries, we've enabled our students to go out into the world using the education and skills they've acquired here to make a positive difference. So in crafting the Emma Enables project, we've asked a very simple question. What does the world need from us today? For we can't stand still. The beautiful new spaces we're creating, and you'll see them later, will enable us to bring two long-held ambitions to fruition. First, enabling our intellectual community to realise its full potential by ensuring the brightest students can come to Emma regardless of their financial circumstances, and by welcoming up to 100 postdoctoral researchers into our vibrant interdisciplinary community. And second, enabling our college community to flourish and be ready to meet the demands of modern life. In future, all undergraduates will have the opportunity to live in college for 3 years. We're removing the barriers to participation, and we're establishing a new programme of opportunities called Emma Experience, which will enable everyone to acquire the skills they need to thrive in college and life beyond through workshops, talks and activities. You'll see and hear a lot more about all of this today. It's lovely to be gathering Emma members from all over the world to celebrate the launch of this project. Later, I'll be having a conversation with the Master-elect, Doug Chalmers, talking about some of the topics you've discussed. I look forward to seeing you again then.
Thanks so much, Dame Fiona, for that. Wow, well, I don't know about you, Vic, but I'm feeling really excited, not just for today's event, but for the future of Emma too, after hearing all of that.
Yeah, me too. Well, we've got a really exciting lineup for you over the next hour or so. We're going to be delving into each of those 4 areas of Emma Enables, as well as hearing from a graduate student about research which could help cure diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We'll be exploring the new building site, and later we'll have a very special chat with Fiona and our soon-to-be master, Doug Chalmers. We'll round everything up with a final toast, so do have your drinks ready for that. And remember, in your celebration packs, you've got a recipe for an Emma-themed mocktail that you might want to whip up. If you don't have a celebration pack, don't worry, there's a link to the recipe below the video player.
We'll also be catching up with some of you at home. And as well as taking a closer look at the campaign, some familiar faces will be announcing the winners of our 3 Emma Awards for Impact, Innovation and Inspiration, as nominated and voted for by you.
Plus, we've got a challenge for you today. So throughout the event, you'll spot some sneakily placed ducks. Make sure you keep a count of them, because anyone who gets the correct number at the end will be in with a chance of winning a prize. Now, these ducks, they might be real, they might be rubber, they might be animated, so keep your eyes peeled from this point onwards.
And while we can't be together in person today, we'd still love you to get involved, share your stories, and interact with us and with each other. You can do this by using the Q&A function, which you'll find on your screen next to the video player, though you might have to come out of full screen view to see it.
And you've already been telling us via the poll function where you're joining us from today. So let's take a look at who's here. We can see the places that you've put in. Okay, a lot in London.
Cambridge, obviously.
Yep, hiya. You too. Hertfordshire, New York.
Ooh.
New York, New York.
Victoria in Canada.
Yeah, I've got Belgium, Massachusetts, North Yorkshire, Northumberland, where I'm from.
Spain, we've got Peterlee.
France, Pennsylvania, Salon-de-Provence.
Hi.
Oh, well, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Oh, so many places there. So without further ado, let's dive right into the first theme of Emma Enables, which is student support and access. This is an area some of you might already be quite familiar with.
Yeah, take a moment at home now to just think about how you came to Emma. What encouraged you to apply? How did you feel when you were accepted? What was your first day like?
We'd love to hear your stories, so please do share them via the Q&A function.
Bobby, do you want to kick us off?
So actually, I was doing my PGC maths teacher training at Hughes Hall, the graduate college. And in 2014 Christmas, I came sort of a formal hall swap to Emma, and I met some amazing people at the MCR. And then also, I was sitting next to a legendary person called Alexander Guttenplan.
Oh, we know him well, a hero of University Challenge.
Exactly, and I was like, I want to go on University Challenge, and I was like, had a chat with him, thought, Emma's the place for me, and then I applied, did my master's here.
We've got a good team, and look, the rest's history.
Yeah.
You became a hero of University Challenge as well.
Thank you. And what about you as well?
A little bit different, no University Challenge yet. No, I mean, it's not going to happen. But yeah, I didn't come up, I went down. So I'm from Newcastle in the north of England, and I applied because I came to the open day here and I spent a night at Emma, and I just thought, I feel really at home here. It's beautiful, it's welcoming, it's warm. And when I came for my first day, I remember my mum and dad drove me down from Newcastle, and they brought me, I had all of my stuff packed into one Harry Potter trunk, which by the end of my time could not fit all my stuff in anymore after I'd collected so many cushions. And my mum dropped me off and she said, yeah, I'm happy leaving you here. This feels right. And it just was right. It was magic, and I still feel that magic when I walk through front court, when I see the college in front of me.
It really is that magical home for all of us. So now we're going to see a short animation highlighting the importance of student support and access work, followed by an insight into graduate student and MCR committee member Petra's research. Plus, I'll be heading to front court to find out the winner of the first Emma Award. See you there shortly.
Petra. I'm a fourth-year PhD student at Emmanuel College, and I do my research at MRC Mitochondrial Biology Unit. So I'm originally from Slovakia, and that's where I did my high school studies. I first did the half-a-year internship in Cambridge. During this time, I secured a PhD at MRC MBU and became a member of Emmanuel. So depending how much biology you can remember from school, you might know some of this already, but I'll help jog your memory. All eukaryotes, which include all the large organisms you might think of, have cells that contain a nucleus and other microscopic structures called organelles. Mitochondria are one of these organelles inside almost all eukaryotic cells. In humans, they are maternally inherited. Their main role is the production of cellular energy, which is stored in a compound called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. The most widely accepted theory of the origins of mitochondria is that bacteria became endosymbionts living within the cells of other organisms, which over time evolved into the mitochondria we have today. While most people think of the DNA we have in our cells existing in the nucleus, which is where most of it is, mitochondria also have their own DNA. Something needs to happen with this information, and for that it's the process called gene expression, which is transcribing RNA from DNA and then translating proteins from this RNA, and then the proteins perform all the functions within the cell. This is what mitochondrial genetics studies, and this is my field of research. In doing research, it's important to find your motivation and know kind of what drives you, especially in the situations when things don't work out. And in my case, it's curiosity. I'm really eager to learn about how things work and kind of broaden our knowledge of cell biology. There are around 20,000 genes encoded in human DNA in the nucleus. Human mitochondria DNA contains only 13 protein-coding genes. Although this number might seem small, each one of these proteins is crucial for proper function of mitochondria and therefore securing enough energy for the cell and the organism. The method we use for investigating the roles of specific genes is to turn them off, which is called producing a knockout. Then study what happens with the cell physiology or look at the molecular changes afterwards. A knockout of a particular gene might produce a change in the growth rate of the cell or make it dependent on certain nutrients, for example. This helps us to pinpoint the function of different genes. On a molecular level, we can assess whether cells are still able to synthesize mitochondrial proteins. We can look at overall changes in levels of all other proteins in the knockout cell line. By observing these changes in the cell functions, we can pinpoint the process in which the gene of interest is involved, as well as better understand the process itself. Proper function of mitochondria is very important for the cell to be able to survive. Mitochondrial diseases is a very broad range of diseases. They tend to affect mostly tissues that are very energy demanding, such as neurons or muscles. But they've been also implicated as a factor in human diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, or type 2 diabetes. At the moment, there are no cures for mitochondrial dysfunction. Knowing what is going on, I think this is kind of the first step towards the ultimate goal to find the cures. We can verify whether the variant of a gene that's identified in a patient is consistent with what we see in a knockout cell line, for example. I think it's really interesting when you're doing these experiments that maybe don't seem to be too much related or seem to be a set of individual results, but then you kind of look into that from a different angle or do this one other experiment that kind of suddenly everything makes sense and it comes together, and it's about being able to understand what your results mean is the bit that's really rewarding.
I think we can all agree that the potential impact of research like Petra's is remarkable, and one of the key reasons why it's important to ensure that finances do not prevent students like Petra from taking up their places. Speaking of impact, that is indeed the theme of the first Emma Award. I'm here with Charlotte and 𝘰𝘮𝘀, President and Vice President of EXU. What's all this behind us?
Well, Bobby, these are the undergraduate pigeonholes moved here this year as a result of COVID.
Yeah, they used to be over there in, next to the Porter's Lodge, but they had to be moved outside because of the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, that makes sense. I missed the ones inside, though. Some members have been voting for the Emma Impact Award, which celebrates members who've made a real impact on the Emma community and college life. So, Charlotte, could you please announce the winner?
Absolutely. There were a number of fantastic nominees, from Emma sporting heroes to EXU and MCR committee members who've made a real difference here during their time, and even Dame Fiona's cat Miranda made the list. But it's time to announce the winner. The winners are Alan Baker and Michelle Still.
So Alan Baker was Emma's first ever fellow in geography and senior tutor from 1976 to 1986. So during the years that women first came to the college. Later, he was Vice Master from 1990 to 1994. He gave a talk on Zoom last March about his research into 19th century Paris, and many of his former pupils attended, showing their strong affection for him. He was described in his nomination as supportive, as knowing how to deal with both college politics and local Cambridge politics, and an inspiration to many.
Coming from a state school and the first in her family to go to university, Michelle Still became EXU's second woman president in 1983, when the college had been mixed for less than half a decade. Her election confirmed that the student body was evolving in positive ways and helped normalise women holding office in colleges. She was an inadvertent pioneer.
They were both very worthy winners.
Oh, absolutely sounds like it. So congratulations to Alan and Michelle and all the nominees. So back to Vic in the studio.
Oh, massive congrats. And thank you, Bobby, in front court. It was so lovely arriving and walking through front court yesterday, being welcomed back by the porters. It's almost like we've never left. It's so warm, they're so welcoming. And I know they cannot wait to welcome all of you back too as soon as possible. But in the meantime, what is wonderful about a virtual event is that you're able to join us from around the world. And right now, I'm joined by Lena and Steve Scroggins, watching from Arkansas in the US. And who's with you as well?
We have two of our three daughters here. This is Rita, who's 4, and Indra, who's 1.5 years. And Clara is watching the live stream in another room.
Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to have you with us. Are you enjoying the stream so far, the event?
It's been great, yeah.
Yeah?
Really beautiful.
Well, tell me a little bit about your time at Emma. When were you here and how did you meet?
We were there, I was there in 2004 to 2006. Lena was there from 2005 to 2006. We were there at graduate school. I was a Herschel Smith scholar. Lena was a Gates scholar there for a year. And we spent a lot of time at the boat club and meeting new people and traveling a little bit as well.
And what was your experience of the community at Emma? How was that sense of community?
It was lovely. People have mentioned how welcoming Emma is. And you agree, right? We told you about it, right? Everybody was really welcoming. There was a lovely combination of an international community. There was obviously a very strong American expat community there. That's how we met. But what we really enjoyed was learning about the local culture and making friends with a lot of the British students. Because we took a piece of that with us, and in exchange, we felt like we left a little bit of ourselves there. So,
yeah.
Lovely.
I feel like we're getting full-on choreography and a little song as well, and I really appreciate it. So thank you for the rendition. Now I'm putting my hands up as well. It's fine. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. All of you. Are you enjoying it? Hands up if you're enjoying it. I'll take that as a yes. Bye, guys. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Now, student support and access, it helps students near the start of their Emma journey, as we've heard. But the second part of Emma Enables, the Emma Experience programme, will support students in a very different way by preparing them for the next stage of their lives beyond Emma. Very shortly, you'll hear from Ellie, who we saw earlier in the campaign video. But first, another beautiful animation to illustrate what the Emma Experience programme is all about.
My name's Ellie Gower. I matriculated in 2011 and graduated in 2014 from Emma, and I studied philosophy. Since I graduated, initially I moved to Switzerland to work for an organisation called Gavi. It was set up by Bill Gates and Nelson Mandela, who together agreed that vaccines weren't working for the world's poorest populations. It clarified that I wanted to work on things that I thought mattered, but I wanted to at least start at smaller organisations. It led me to really hone in on social enterprise, the business I now work for. 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢 is a business based in Ethiopia that supports small-scale producers to grow in a climate-resilient and diverse way, organically. When done well, that growing in and of itself can have a massive onward impact, environmentally and also in terms of livelihoods. Agriculture is too often pushed and squeezed to optimise purely for short-term profit. That's not brilliant when it comes to its impact on people, and it's not brilliant when it comes to its impact on the environment. 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢, what we advocate for is instead a focus and turn to circular systems, which is all about seeking to put as much into the soil as we take from it, and that our time frames move from short-term extraction to long-term health. One of the things which I really care about is that I think it's amazing and wonderful that we all hold our local food systems to higher account than perhaps we did 20, 30 years ago. But what I would love to see happen is a similar celebration and also scrutiny applied to produce which comes from further afield. What the business sets out to do is to make the connection between better growing and better markets. And that's where I come in. So my job is basically to find a home for all of the amazing produce that the farms we work with grow. I really enjoyed my studies, and obviously they were a large part of what I spent my time doing at Emma. That love for my subject hadn't shone until I was in a place that, like Emma, provided me with the support and structure to pursue it. But I think that it really sticks with me that definitely the people I interacted with, fellow students, as well as the people teaching my subject, helped clarify the kind of things I wanted to prioritise and my values. I took part in quite a diversity of clubs and societies and committees, particularly fond memories of being women's officer. My time at Emma impressed on me the value of thinking big, and it also impressed on me the value of being intentional. That was a strong theme of the conversations that I had with both friends and the different staff members that I interacted with, getting people to think about what they cared about and where they wanted to go. While I was at Emma, it definitely crystallised for me that I wanted to get out there and solve practical, real-world problems. It's such a huge opportunity to catalyse young people's energy and interest in living in a world and contributing to a world that looks head-on at the ugly problems we're facing and does something about it. Whether that is in, food, whether it's in something entirely different. As we look ahead, it will be more and more important for educational institutions to provide the students with clarity and the ability to distill complicated, complex issues. A huge number of my friends from that time remain my friends and remain people that not only am I friends with, but I really admire. And I think that speaks to what is so special about Emma. Community, to me, is about the opposite of loneliness. You're in it together, and I think that is something which college and Emma was able to really cultivate. Community is really important for giving you the confidence to kind of springboard out and do what you want and care about.
It's so amazing to hear about the wonderful and varied things that Emma members go on to do after their time here. And so fantastic that the new Emma Experience programme will do even more to equip the students of the future for the world beyond Emma. And our next Emma Award is on a very similar theme. So Bobby went down to the boathouse yesterday to meet the boathouse manager, Pete Twitchett, and find out the winner of the Emma Innovation Awards.
Well, it's great to be here at the Boathouse, a place that holds special memories for generations of Emma rowers and people like me who cheered them on. The scene behind me, all the boats, is testament to the support of generous members of the boat club. And you can see the boats, they're really long. And I've come here to speak to the boat club manager, Pete. So let's go and have a chat with him. Hi, Pete. It's like an absolutely beautiful setting here, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very, very special place in college.
Really is. So you've been manager for the Boathouse for more than 12 years now. So you've got to know many of our members very well. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I'd like to welcome them back to the Boathouse and hope this place brings some very, very fond and happy memories back to them of being down here rowing and making lifelong friendships.
Absolutely, those friendships do count. So you've kindly agreed to announce the second Emma Award for Innovation. This award celebrates members who've shown a real innovative spirit during their time at Emma or beyond. So we're really excited. Go on, the magic envelope.
Right. And the winner of the Emma Innovation Award is Paul Fellows. Paul has been a major force in the high-tech scene in Cambridge and the world. He created the RISC OS, which is a popular choice for use on the Raspberry Pi. He pioneered Internet TV as CTO of Amino, and also the Internet of Things through his work at AlertMe, brought by Hive by British Gas. In his spare time, he also runs the Cambridge Astronomical Association and has led the public observing evenings at the university observatories.
Oh, massive congratulations to Paul, and lovely to see you again, Pete.
And you.
Okay, back to college.
And as if by magic, welcome back, Bobby.
In the flesh.
I can't believe you got to go to the boathouse yesterday. It's like a lot of fun. I'm a little bit jealous, I'm not going to lie. Now, we've reached the midpoint in today's event, so here's a sneak peek of what's coming up very soon. Very shortly, we'll be hearing from the bursar and the lead architect about the new buildings, and then we'll be taking a journey through deep time with Emma Fellow and author Robert Macfarlane. Finally, I'll be joined by the Master Fiona and Master-elect Doug for a one-off conversation between them both.
We're just going to head behind the scenes now and say hello to a few people who are keeping everything running smoothly today. So follow me up the stairs here. Got to be careful, there's a mathematical grading, I think it's 45 degrees. And we're going to say hello firstly to the team running the show. Hi guys, the magic behind the tech, thank you. Let's keep going here. So now we're going to enter HQ. So we're going to say hello to Holly, Rebecca and Sarah from the Development Office.
Hi, Bobby.
Hello. Well, you've been keeping an eye on all the stories coming in about how members of our audience came to Emma. So do you want to tell us some of the interesting ones?
Yeah, there's been a really lovely one from Jin. She spoke about the friendly welcome she received as one of the first female graduate students in 1978 and fondly remembers singing Evensong and dining in a hall, which is really lovely.
So, Rebecca?
Yeah, we've had a really nice comment from Curtis, who came to Emma in 1992, and how that experience has really underlined the importance of making sure that other students receive the same amazing opportunities.
Oh, it's wonderful to hear. And a warm welcome now to a familiar face for many of you, our Development Director, Sarah Bendo. So hi, Sarah.
Hi, Bobby, and hi, everybody.
So obviously the official launch of Emma Enables is today, but a huge amount of work has taken place, mostly behind the scenes, to get to this point. So like, how does it finally feel to be at this point?
It's actually really thrilling, and I mean, it's wonderful to see all we've been working on for quite some time coming to fruition. And you know, it's a pretty complicated event, and it's been fascinating seeing it all put together. To be absolutely honest, I'm finding it quite emotional. I mean, it's wonderful. And the great thing about being virtual is that we can be really inclusive and take Emma to everybody wherever you are. It was fantastic to see Lena and Steve and Indre and Rita just now. And you know, from the word cloud, you could see we had people from lots of places. Cambridge came up quite strongly because we've got fellow students and staff all watching. But it was lovely to see lots of people from all over the world. And I know I've got lots of friends out there, so lovely to see you all. Thank you for joining us.
So clearly excited, but what are you most excited about when it comes to the future of our college?
Oh, goodness. Well, it's a holistic vision, and I think that's the most important thing, really, and that's what makes it so special. So, yes, we're creating wonderful new facilities and spaces, but then that enables all sorts of really, really exciting and innovative people-related programs to be developed. So, looking forward to strengthening our student support and access activities, to developing the Emma Experience programme, and to welcoming all these postdocs to Emma. I mean, I think they're going to really add to the buzz, and the Emma Hub is going to be an absolutely fantastic place where we can all meet and gather and you know, interact in very, very new ways. So I think that's really exciting. And then the other thing is that because it's such an all-encompassing vision, then there's lots of opportunities for everybody to get involved and to play a part in whatever way suits them. So I think it's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
It truly is wonderful. It was great to see you as ever, Sarah.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you to everyone behind the scenes for making today possible. And now for the important bit. Have you been keeping up with the duck counting? Make sure you keep your eyes peeled wide open for the ducks in this second half. We're going to be telling you how you can submit your guesses very soon.
Yeah, keeping an eye out for those ducks. Thank you very much, Bobby, and thank you to Sarah and the team. Now, from one innovative programme to another, in this next section, we'll be looking at a third area of Emma Enables, postdocs. Now, in this area, Emma really is leading the way. No other Cambridge college is currently doing what Emma is planning to do for postdocs, and that makes this extremely exciting. I'll see you in a moment after another animation when I'll be speaking to research fellow Dr Amy Orben about her research into the effects of social media and digital technology on the well-being of teenagers. Yeah, I think the key message there is the important role that postdocs play in the amazing research that goes on in the university and how colleges like Emma can play a huge part in advancing this. Well, I'm joined now virtually by one of Emmanuel's own researchers, Dr. Amy Orben. Hi, Amy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Where are you joining me from right now?
I'm actually joining you from home because I've had to self-isolate. So I'm actually halfway through my isolation today.
Getting there. You'll get there. It's 2021. This is what we do. But thank you so much for being with us. And this is the beauty of a virtual event, is that we can connect. You focus in your research on the effects of social media on well-being. Can you tell me a little bit about this? Is it all bad? Are there positives?
It's a really complicated question, and a question that, not just scientists, but also policymakers, parents, the public have been asking themselves over the last 5 to 10 years with increasing digitalization. And I think the pandemic has made that even more prominent. And I think what we see here as kind of scientists is that the link is really dependent on how we use social media. Do we use it to actively connect with others or just to scroll through our timelines? And also who we are as a people. There might be some people who are more vulnerable to certain aspects, and that's especially what I'm focusing on at the moment in my research.
And how are you carrying out that research?
Yeah, so I actually studied natural sciences at Cambridge, and I'm really a programmer and a data scientist. So I work with data sets collected by the government and various research councils, and I analyze them with quite advanced statistical techniques to really understand what's going on, to then complement the work, for example, of other colleagues who do more interview-based or more experimental work.
A lot of number crunching, a lot of information, but such important work. I know from working with kids, with young people, both charity work, but also on my radio show, that we rely so much on social media, and so many young people are connected at a time when we're isolated, and that's important, but equally it's exacerbating a lot of their insecurities and their need to compare each other, to seek validation online from strangers. It's so important that you're doing this. What is it that you'd love to achieve from your research?
I think we really need to have a new way of doing research in the digital age, and we need to address digitalization head on. And so I really want to be able to create that research ecosystem, as well as focusing on my own research in terms of, for example, informing UK policy around technology regulation and education.
Well, Emma Enables, it plans to bring 100 postdoctoral researchers into the college community. How has being a member of Emmanuel helped you?
It's so important. As a postdoc, you are incredibly specialized, and we're often very overlooked. A lot of postdocs, most of them don't even have a college connection. And so you're specializing at a time where you have little connection or community. A lot of them move from very far away, and we have short-term contracts. And so being part of Emma doesn't only allow me to be part of a multidisciplinary community, which brings me new ideas over lunches or dinners, but also in terms of just being part of a community and feeling like you're part of something bigger in that time where you feel like you're really putting yourself into a tiny box and trying to do that well.
Well, it sounds like being part of an interdisciplinary community. It's enriching and innovating for your personal life as well as your research. So, I mean, it's just so important. Thank you so much, Amy, for everything that you're doing, and also for joining us today. It's been lovely to speak to you. Thank you. We certainly could have spoken, I think, for much longer. And if you would like to hear more from Amy, we've put a link to one of her talks in the Q&A box. I hope that's given you at home a sense of why supporting their research of early career academics is such an important ambition for Emma. But right now, over to Bobby for the final Emma Awards.
I've come to the Porter's Lodge to see two of our wonderful porters, Monty and Paul. Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, Monty, you okay?
Hi, my man. How you doing?
Really good. Shall we have a chat outside?
Absolutely. Good idea. We'll come out.
Looking very smart, fellas.
Hi, my man. How you doing? All right?
Yeah. So, Monty, what's the past year been like in college?
Well, Bobby, it's been challenging, to say the least. First lockdown was really hard. The college was empty. It was like a desert. But with the support of the bursar, the senior tutor, the household, and everyone else has, put in for it. It's been fantastic. The loyalty that the porters have shown me over the last year, they've gone above and beyond. Harriet Carey, special shout out to her because she's been fantastic helping us and she's now an honorary porter. The students have played their part, but I am so proud of my porters. They have been absolutely fantastic and a good job well done. I think.
It sounds like such a brilliant job you guys have done. And Paul, you're going to announce the winner of the Emma Inspiration Award. And this is to celebrate members who inspire others through their embodiment of the spirit of Emma, whether through community work or an act of kindness or friendship, sir.
Right, Bobby, so the winner is Janet Goff. Janet has become the leading expert in cathedrals and churches of England, giving talks and writing books on the subject, including for the Emmanuel Society. Janet's work and expertise has made a notable contribution towards both the care and knowledge of the architectural gems that churches and cathedrals in this country.
Congratulations, Janet.
Well done.
Absolutely, well deserved. And rather fortuitously, what a fabulous link that is to the next segment, which is all about new buildings. Vic, I'll be joining you soon, but in the meantime, back to you.
Oh, Monty and Paul, thank you so much. It's so lovely to see you. And yes, from caring for ancient buildings to creating new ones, from everything we've heard so far about student support and access, the Emma Experience Programme and postdocs, it's clear that people are at the heart of Emma Enables. But all of these programmes are only made possible by the new buildings, which many of you may know a bit about already. You might have seen some photos and videos of the work on the new site, and like me, you might have been particularly interested to keep tabs on the demolition of our beloved, if a little quirky, college bar. Now, lots of you very kindly sent in your photos of the bar recently, and the college has created this fantastic mosaic of them. It's pretty intricate. You might have to zoom in quite a lot to have a good look at it, but it's so lovely to see so many memories wrapped up in that bar. I can see that famous blue sofa that we all know and love, and I think this spans quite a few eras of the Emma bar, but do have a little look at that and have a zoom in and see if you can see yourself. Of course, though, we are all wondering what will take the place of the bar? What will the new bar be like? What are all the new buildings? Well, we're going to hear from the lead architect, Gavin, and the bursar, Mike, right now to find out.
First and foremost, the new development is really about people and about the community that exists at Emma and the way the spaces and buildings support that community.
We've been planning for the project for the best part of a decade, and we do see it as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to encourage the different parts of the Emma community to meet and to interact.
It's about interaction, sociability, and the life of the college and the way that supports the intellectual life here. The college has been here for over 400 years, and before that there was a priory, so we're very much aware of the new development as if you like, another layer in this progressive transformation of the site, respecting the character of what's here and how that's evolved over time. We spent a lot of time understanding the character of the existing college spaces, the way they're interconnected. There's a unique sequence of informal and formal courts and gardens. So what we've been doing is really looking how the new scheme can knit into that existing network of spaces and routes that characterises the college at the moment. We're looking at the proportions of existing buildings, the materials, the touch and feel of what they're made of, the craftsmanship of the materials. The new development embraces the whole area from South Court through to Park Terrace and includes a new social hub, which is a cafe-type environment, a new college court at the heart of the development, which provides 50 new ensuite rooms for students and fellow accommodation. Then, on the Park Terrace frontage is Furnace Lodge, the 19th century villa. That has a new MCR, new teaching spaces and seminar spaces, and behind that will be the new college bar and event space, so new social facilities. Moving from Front Court through to Chapman's Gardens. The first thing you'll see is the new social hub, which sits in South Court in the location which used to be the college bar.
The hub will be a beautiful, light, open area, space for people to do informal study or to have supervisions or to meet friends. We've never had a space where people can mix throughout the day. We've lacked that sort of flexible, non-hierarchical space, and particularly a space that postdocs and researchers can use, because they're part of the community we haven't been able to offer much to in the past.
The new social hub is going to be fully glazed to Chapman's Gardens and the new landscape in South Court. We're planting pleached plane trees, which create a canopy and a sense of quite intimate scale to that space, and there'll be a reflecting pool of water. We started work on site in November last year, so we've been on site now for about 6 months, and following the exam period this year, you'll see a lot more progress as the buildings move forward. The main residential part of the site is based around a new college court, and there are a series of 50 new ensuite rooms with also new accessible rooms, which is very important for the college, and a new accessible fellows suite, and all of those are designed around staircases in the traditional way with their own gyp rooms.
The front of Furnace Lodge will provide a new MCR. It will be a more flexible space. It will give the graduate community new facilities. There will also be seminar rooms, there'll be supervision rooms, an XU office. Front of Furnace Lodge will provide us with lots of things we desperately have needed for a long time.
And then behind Furnace Lodge, in what was the service wing, we're providing a new college bar, which is actually going to be a very characterful space. It's a double-height space open to the roof, something of a barn-like volume, part of a series of social spaces that we're creating, which you could imagine a bit more like a sort of traditional pub that has a number of different rooms and bars with different characters. So we have a principal college bar, but we also have a separate lounge bar, and we're creating a large new event space.
Sustainability has been key throughout. We set that as an absolutely core target for the architects, and all of the engineers have worked on the project. It will be a very green development.
The approach here has been very much about reducing the energy that's used within the buildings, and that's by what we call a fabric-first approach. So actually they're very well insulated. We're using the mass of the building to help cool it, and we're thinking very much in the long term about buildings which are here to stay. It's part of the benefits of being somewhere like Emmanuel, where it's very much all about long-term thinking.
And I mean, a great example of that is the ground source heat pump that we're told has an expected life of 200 years. It's a transformational project. We're hoping that all of these buildings are going to be here and in use for a very long time, for very many generations, and that we're putting something in place now that the college community will value and use for, I hope centuries.
Buildings are either constraining or they're enabling. And obviously in good architecture, what you're trying to do is to help individuals, communities, society to live more fulfilling lives. What we're trying to do is create places that delight and are engaging physically and intellectually and are valued in the long term by the people who form this community.
I'm Robert McFarlane. I'm a fellow in English here at Emmanuel, and I'm also a writer. And for nearly 20 years now, I've been researching and writing around the subject of deep time. Deep time is the chronology of Earth history. It's measured in units that humble the human instant, eons and epochs instead of minutes and years. Deep time is kept by rock and stone, by ice, by seabed sediments and stalactites. I first became interested in this subject because I grew up as a mountain climber, and deep time is rarely laid more bare than when in mountains. But over the past decade, I've become increasingly fascinated by the ethical implications of deep time. For deep time stretches into the future as well as into the past. And to think deeply about the future is necessarily to consider the legacies we're leaving as individuals and as a species. One of the best questions I know was asked by Jonas Salk, the Nobel Prize-winning virologist who developed one of the first polio vaccines and made it available for free to the world. Salk's question, posed towards the end of his life, was this: are we being good ancestors? It's a question that first stops you, then searches you. Are we being good ancestors? For to be a good ancestor is quite different to being a good parent or grandparent. It means extending care to people you will never meet, decades, centuries, even millennia into the future. It is very hard to be a good ancestor, I think. We're not doing a good job of it as a species at present, as we lay down our future fossils and strata markers, radionuclides, plastic waste, mass deformation. To be a good ancestor means dreaming of the history of things to come. It means weighing what you will leave behind for epochs and communities that have not yet been imagined. There is, of course, a dangerous comfort to be drawn from deep time. An ethical lotus-eating beckons. What does our behaviour now matter when Homo sapiens will have disappeared from the Earth in the blink of a geological eye? We should, though, resist such inertial thinking. Indeed, we should urge its opposite. Deep time as a radical perspective, provoking us to action, not to apathy. Helping to develop the awareness that we all exist as part of a web of gift, inheritance and legacy, stretching over countless years past and countless to come. Walter Mildmay, Emmanuel's founder, was a good ancestor, what is sometimes also called a cathedral thinker. As you know, Emmanuel's first and keystone story, if it can be called that, was Mildmay's remark to Elizabeth I on the occasion of his founding of the college in 1584. I have set an acorn which, when it becomes an oak, God alone knows what will be the fruit thereof. I've always liked the idea of Emmanuel as an oak tree. Not only are oak trees long-lived and resilient, in fact our word robust comes from the scientific name for the oak tree, Quercus robur. They're also communities of astonishing diversity. A remarkable 2,300 species are associated with oak trees, including 38 birds, 716 lichen and 31 mammals, a higher number than any other species of tree. I have set an acorn which, when it becomes an oak, God alone knows what will be the fruit thereof. Mildmay's phrase, God alone knows has always interested me. For it seems to me that a vital part of good ancestry is not knowing, is relinquishing control over the exact outcome of one's actions, but instead planting those acorns and trusting that they will grow through deeper time than one's own, flourishing first into trees and then forests that are thriving and irreplaceable communities of life.
Thriving and irreplaceable communities of life. I think Rob's words there really do sum up Emmanuel after all that we've seen today. And I'm joined now by two very special guests, our Master Fiona Reynolds and Master-elect Doug Chalmers. Now, in a moment, I have some questions that were sent in by you, our audience, in advance of today. But first, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It's great that we could be here in person.
Yeah, isn't it just fantastic?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and that we can connect with so many people around the world virtually. It feels very special. What have you been making of the event so far?
I think it's wonderful. I mean, in fact, I'm very moved by it too, because, you know, this is my last term here, so I'm feeling very sad, but I'm also feeling incredibly proud, because what we're going to put in place, I think, is just a tremendous opportunity for the future. So I'm not calling it a legacy, I'm calling it a series of opportunities, which I'm, in a way, passing to the next generation.
It does feel like quite an emotional time, but for you, probably more than anyone. And Doug, I mean, welcome, welcome.
It's great to be here, and I think it's a really, really great time to be here. I think it's to pick up that sort of journey, which Emma Enables in many ways describes. And I think for me, everything we've seen so far is, as I learn about what this community is, everything we've seen, everything we've heard, sort of helps describe that magical alchemy that I think is Emma.
Well, you're a part of that now. For our viewers, for everyone watching, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself to the Emma community?
Yeah, no, of course, Vic. Well, I was born in Belfast quite some time ago now, and just before my 19th birthday, I enlisted in the army, and I've just finished a 37-year career in the military, finishing a job in the centre of Whitehall as we ran on from there. And about halfway through that service career, I had the opportunity to do a sabbatical here in Cambridge, studying international relations. And I really loved the ability to do the research, the ability to study, the time to think. But I really loved the MCR and the ability to learn from other people that were going through different journeys and different disciplines at the same time for me. And Helen, my wife, and I, we also fell in love with the city and bought a house here. Those two experiences are very much what's led me to be with you tonight.
It feels like it's come full circle. And what a brilliant way to be a part of our community as well. I also have to say congratulations, Doug, on your recent appointment as Companion of the Order of the Bath in the Queen's Birthday Honours 2021. How does that feel?
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, these things feel that they're always humbling and they're always slightly embarrassing because we recognise that everything's a team effort and they're to be picked out from a team, I think, is often slightly embarrassing. But on this occasion, a lot of the team were also recognised at the same time. So somewhere, when the restrictions go down, there will almost certainly be a gathering, which will be good.
Oh, and I'm glad to hear it. Congrats to the whole team then. It's so special to have you both here together. It feels like passing the baton. It feels like collaboration. And I'd like to kick off with a really beautiful question from our audience. And it's very simply, what makes Emma so special, Fiona?
Oh, well, for me, it's people and place. I mean, place, obviously, this is a beautiful, beautiful college, and this sense of these centuries unfolding, each leaving their mark, and even the time before the college was established, will always, for me, make it an incredibly special place. I love it very much indeed. But it's, as much as anything, the people and our communities that have really, won my heart. You think of our communities, the fellows, with their extraordinary and diverse intellectual interests. We think of the students from undergraduates through to postgraduates who work so hard, who are so committed, who manage to do so much, and particularly in this year, which has been so tough, have been absolutely remarkable. Our staff, who have carried us through this very difficult COVID time, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's done so much to keep the college going. And then finally, of course, our members, many of you out there tonight who I've met many of you, talked to you, welcomed you here. It's been a really special part of my experience as master and, you know, continuing to be at the heart of the Emma community.
Here's the people. Bobby and I stopped by the Porter's Lodge just a little bit earlier, and I remembered how many nights I spent just having a cup of tea with them there, and I feel like they knew probably more about me and my friends than anyone else. There was a pastoral element to their care, and that's something that you don't get everywhere. You really don't. And it's a college which, it really stimulates you. It makes you feel like you're capable. It gives you confidence when you're surrounded by these people that you're in awe of, both the fellows but also your fellow students. It inspires a confidence that you too could be anything, you could do anything, and that, I mean, that's what makes us, that's what's made us. Doug, what are your first impressions of the community?
I'm sort of, I'm joining, as you know, and in fact I was asked to sort of have a quick read of the Freshers' Handbook that's about to go out. And I'm a fresher. I'm about to join. So I really loved reading it, actually, and in the process of that sort of really gave me an insight into sort of the opportunities and the sort of the things that can be done and how people are brought into the college and made part of the community, and help sort of break down some of the natural fears that will be on this sort of next part of one's sort of journey of life, of which I'm about to make a big step as well. So I feel the same nervousness sort of coming in. But I think the word for me would be sort of openness, because in the time I've been here speaking to, whether it be the porters that you've mentioned already, the ladies that run the laundry, the fellows in the terms over lunch, I've had a chance to meet them, and the students in the part through, everyone has been wonderfully open in that part. But then it's pace, going back to the place you mentioned before, and you just heard the sort of description on there. We go through the formality of North Court, through the simple wonder of the paddock, and the new spaces will just simply build on that.
Yeah. I'm imagining you now as a fresher going to the fair, getting your free pens, joining the Pastafarian Society, take it all in. Doug, what are you most looking forward to when you join Emma as Master in October?
I think I'm really looking forward to being part of that sort of magic alchemy and playing my part in sort of helping it go on, to build on the stuff that we've sort of talked about before, and helping this journey of Emma Enables go into the future. It's about the people, as you described just now. The bit I'm most worried about is probably the Latin graces. And sort of tripping over that. I've heard Fiona give them now quite a few times flawlessly. And so getting that bit right, I think, is something I sort of know. So I've got a bit of time over summer, and I will seek some good counsel from some of the fellows.
Have you practiced at all yet?
I have not even started.
Okay.
So please.
I'm not going to ask you to do it. I'm not. Any advice, Fiona?
Oh, just read it at first. Don't try to memorise it. Read it and become comfortable with it, and you'll be fine.
And you'll be moving into the Master's Lodge as well.
Really excited about that, actually. I think, and as you've talked about the sort of place, be able to live within it, you can feel it, the noises, the seasons that sort of flow through. It'll be really special for us to be there.
Yeah, and Fiona, I know you're emotional already, but what will you miss the most?
Oh, God. Well, people and place, of course, you know, the whole thing. But I suppose for me as well, it's the kind of college occasions, the rhythm of the year, all the different experiences which go on here. Things like the very special events like 𝘌𝘮𝘮𝘢, you know, the big dinners, the grand occasions, the big talks when loads of people come, but also, you know, the quiet dinners, the Sundays in chapel and then dinner afterwards and the choir singing, and then just interacting with all the students. So, you know, I've been following the boats on the river, going on to watch the odd cricket match or you know, rugby, following our students who do remarkable things, performing or dancing or whatever. All that comes together in a really kind of remarkable set of experiences, and I'm going to miss everything, really.
You can still do those things. You can still come and watch the boats and the dancing. It's all here for you.
Yeah, and I will. I'll be back. But you know, it's been a very special experience.
Yeah, it's so true what you say about the rhythm of the year. You look back on your experience and it's wrapped up in all these memories and all these feelings, and you can take yourself through each season and the things, the rituals that you would be engaging with, and I feel like that never leaves you. So yeah, I wouldn't worry. I mean, I've been gone for 10 years and I still feel that way, so it's going to be fine.
Perfect.
I've received a number of questions on really important topics, such as climate change, but I've got one here that was phrased particularly nicely, and it gives us a lot to think about. And it's this. So what do you see as being the greatest challenge for the world in the immediate future? Big question. And what role do you see for Emmanuel College in responding to it? I might need to break it down a little bit, but Fiona, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you won't be surprised with my background that I do think the climate crisis and indeed the nature crisis are the two really big things facing humanity. And I think whereas perhaps a couple of decades ago, some people would have thought, yeah, I'm really motivated by that, I'm going to work in that field. Actually, from now, everybody's going to be engaged in working in whatever way they can, whether as engineers or kind of philosophers or teachers or priests or whatever people do, we will all be engaged in the challenge of trying to make a sustainable future for the planet. And it does connect really closely to the Emma experience as well, because actually one of the things that is at the heart of our ambitions there is to help people face an uncertain future, but have the skills and the kind of resilience to cope with whatever the world throws at them, but also to believe in themselves that they have the capabilities to make a contribution and to thrive and offer something to the challenges the world is facing.
Yeah. And what about you, Doug?
With my background, I'll come at it from the geopolitics sort of angle. And I think very much, as already mentioned, the sort of the climate crisis, the population growth, and then the rapidly emerging tech, which is constantly sort of adapting all parts of our life that we've heard much about in what we've heard so far. All of that and how that comes together is creating a pace to some of these challenges that is really quite different to, I think, anything we've seen before. And therefore, the interdisciplinary thought that we've talked about through much of it really is critical. Yeah. And I think a number of the speakers went through it. It's the conversations in the margins of one's own study that suddenly make you lift you up, see other things, see the connections that might go through. And that's part of the Emma Enables project that comes into it. But I think the other real key thing is to gain a detailed, a proper understanding and empathy for different perspectives and different cultures. Because I think only by bringing those two bits together will we actually come up with sort of sustainable connections that will help us get through the future.
When we're talking about some of the biggest challenges that we're facing at the moment, I personally can't help but look at the past year and the fact that we've really been highlighting the inequality in our society and the different opportunities that we're all born into, and the fact that we're still not there yet. What is Emmanuel doing when it comes to ensuring that there is fairness and there is opportunity for those with potential?
Gosh, I think you're absolutely right. And despite best efforts, it is still the case, sadly, that Cambridge seems remote, inaccessible, distant for many people. And so one of the absolute core ambitions of Emma Enables is to ramp up our efforts on widening access and participation to enable anybody who has the capability to thrive here to be given that opportunity, whatever their background or, you know, whatever lack of resources they have. So that's a really, really powerful motivation for our plans. And then when they get here, we'll be looking after them as well, Doug.
No, it is, I think, and we've touched on it a bit, I think access, we've talked about it, we've come a long way. Yes. We've got a long way to go, and that's a core part of it. But I think once they're here, and I touched on it earlier on, is that it's to get that feeling of the ability to gain an understanding, gain empathy for the different positions that are around here, why people believe what they believe, have an understanding for it. And only by that, I think, will we actually generally come together with sort of those combinations that we can describe that will be sustainable going forward. And I think that's a key part of Emma Enables. And it will be able to sort of work it through what I'm calling the ecosystem, from sort of fellows down to undergraduates, with the new postdocs coming into there. How do we make all those connections sort of work within to help them come through? It'll be vibrant here, but also the connections, the human connections people make here, will give people someone to phone, someone to call 10, 20, 30 years when something just blunts into their world. They think, I could really do someone that really understands that, and then be able to bring it in. Yeah,
and look, once you feel like you belong somewhere, that's when you can really, really thrive. We've heard a lot about Emma Enables, but I do have one very important question. It's been asked, it needs to be asked, and it is, how much needs to be found to make all of this happen?
Well, that's a brilliant question, because there's a very clear answer. We now need £7.5 million to complete the project. Now, that sounds a lot of money, but when you think our starting position was that we needed £50 million for the whole project, you've seen its complexity and its many dimensions, the buildings, the people projects, the kind of whole holistic vision is £50 million. The college put in 12, and we therefore had to raise 38, and we have now raised £30.5 million, which is an incredible achievement. And a big contribution to that £30.5 million has been our members, and I think we're going to hear from some of those who've helped us now.
I'm really thankful for my time at Emma. It was full of opportunities for trial and error, which in so many ways has shaped my life ever since. I'm glad to help others have their opportunity to learn and discover themselves in such an amazing setting. And I enjoy the feeling of continuing connection with the college that comes from providing support.
I have such fond memories of my time at Emma. I remember choosing Emma because it was known even then in the late 80s for being a diverse, accessible and inclusive college. I fully support Emma's current access and outreach initiatives, and I'm delighted to offer some financial support for them.
Emmanuel's ambition to accommodate every student is something I was very happy to support, and is creating new buildings and spaces that will no doubt define and enrich the experience of many generations of college members to come.
Emma Enables embodies everything that makes the college so special. I was delighted to be able to support this outstanding project with its vision for new student accommodation, excellent research facilities for postdocs, and of course what promises to be a magnificent new bar.
We have benefited greatly from our time and experience at Emmanuel.
Emma Enables will ensure many more people benefit to the fullest extent from the opportunities the college has to offer.
Emma enabled me to grow up, to make great friends, to embark on a rewarding career path. I'm pleased to be able to support the college now, because I believe that financial circumstances should never be the reason that people miss out on this amazing opportunity.
My time at Emma and Cambridge have had a profound influence on the person I am today, and the opportunities that I've since benefited from. So it is with great pride and pleasure that I'm able to give back.
The new accommodation will bring all second-year undergraduates back onto the main site and underscore just how important a shared sense of place is, academically, socially, and for well-being. So this is a real, once-in-a-generation opportunity to make a real and lasting difference to Emma's future.
I'm so convinced by the worth of the scheme that this year, 50 years since I went down, I'm making a major donation. And the payback for me will be the huge satisfaction of seeing our beloved college dramatically enhanced to the benefits of many, many future generations.
That's so inspiring. So now it's your turn. With 7.5 million to go out of a total of 50, now it's your chance to help us. This, as you've seen, is a transformational project, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a really big difference to Emmanuel, the college that you love. So whatever you can give, whatever feels comfortable for you, we will be most grateful. So thank you so much for your help. Thank you for joining us. And I hope you'll help us to make Emma Enables a reality.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Now, while I ask one final question of you both, audience at home, if you've been counting the ducks throughout today's event, please decide on your guess for how many there've been. Put it into the Q&A box now, or you can email your guess as well to launch@emma.cam.ac.uk, and the answer will be revealed by Bobby very, very shortly. But Fiona, Doug, as I said, I have one more question for you, and it is very simply, when you think of Emma, what one word comes to mind, Fiona?
Oh, well, for me, it's beauty. Beauty of place, beauty of ideas, beauty of experience and relationships. Emma is beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful in so many ways. Doug, what do you think so far?
I think as a fresher about to join this family with all the nerves that everyone will have joining it, I think for me the word has to be welcoming, because that's what I felt at every turn.
It really is. And I think if I had to choose a word, it would be nourishing. I felt so nourished by my time here, my mind, my body, my soul. It was a magical experience that has built me, has made me who I am. And it also nourished my stomach because the food here is really good, like really delicious, some of the best. So thank you, Emma. Bobby's here. Bobby, do you want to join us? Yeah. What would your word be if you had to choose one?
So as soon as I walked through the front gates, past the Porter's Lodge, like I'm home. So it feels like I'm back home whenever I come here.
Yeah. Shall we talk about the ducks?
Yes, we shall talk about the ducks. So who's been watching carefully? So if you've sent in the right answer, you'll be in with a chance of winning a prize. So throughout today's shows, the number of ducks that have been hidden is, drum roll please, it's 30. Well done to everyone who's spotted the one. And to be honest, I'm quite pleased because 30 is between two prime numbers. So.
That's very important. I feel that way as well about prime numbers. I saw one. I saw one up on the desk over there when you went up. And then there was a VT where there were about 5 roaming through the paddock, but someone's job was to count them all. So well done, thank you for that.
Great job, duck counters. Well, I can't quite believe it, but we've reached the end of today's event. It's been a really incredible and inspiring experience, and it's been amazing to have so many of you here today joining us from all around the world. I think it's a special and rare moment when we can all come together like this to celebrate such an important new phase for our college.
Yeah, and before we bring the event to a close, please can you grab your drinks, Bobby's, or if you grab ours as well, please. As we come together for a final toast, we have got mocktails in the Emma colours, of course. Thank you. Lovely. We'd love you to capture this moment with a photo if you can, and take a little pic, see how you're celebrating, and you can send your photos to us at the email address below the video player, or you can tag the college as well on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter.
So everyone now, please raise your glasses.
We hope you'll join us in supporting Emma Enables and this special moment in Emma's history. To Emmanuel.
To Emmanuel.
To Emmanuel.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you.